everybody. This is Frankie Abbruzzino with the Scoop News, or the uncensoredreport.com. Leads you to the same local news page. Coming on just to talk, it's about some of the ironies out there. You know, when I first got into this, I started sharing that news and stuff, and I thought, well, you know, that's all you do. If you look at all these media guys, they're all sharing the same story. Nothing is new. I can do that. Then I started getting people like the Gondo. They wanted to sue me. They tried to get all the media outlets after me, and I refused their letter when they had tried to serve me. Really pissed off old DuPont there. And instead of coming to me and saying, hey, Frank, this is the concerns. How about we work together? And I would have been more than happy to, like I do with many of the other media outlets. But now I get it. And I get it with him because I guess DuPont must have seen what was coming down the road. And a good example of that is what happened out at the Jetty. I had two or three media reporters come up to me and say, you know, we tried to get information, and everybody's like, we sent it to Scoop. He's like, you're so connected here, we couldn't get anything. And I share a lot of stuff with them. I don't share as much as I used to because they don't give you credit, or they're just jerks to you afterwards. I still do share with a few people whenever I get a story. But what I noticed is they didn't want a lot of these hard stories. What they want is they want to put out a lot of those fluff pieces. A good example is this Holic one. And let me go to the video first. You tell me if he's talking about building a fence. So let's go to that video real quick.
The two people.
Venice Mayor John Holic says the city has talked about putting up a fence in the very spot where the Hayden's van went over the edge, but the idea never got enough support until now.
I think it gives it a lot more ammunition for being accepted, where in the past it was, well, nothing's ever happened, show me the statistics. Well, you try to take action on things to make them not happen, but sometimes it takes the actual event before there is action.
All right, so there you have it. He is clearly in there and saying, yeah, you know, yeah, the fence, we tried it before, blah, 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 very spot. Yet he puts out an email to somebody saying, I never said anything about a fence. Nobody's ever brought that up. And this is all documented. He's documented on video, he's documented on email. But no media will even touch that and call him out for it. It's similar to him, like when he had the stalker issue. A lot of people might not even know about this. It was common knowledge about how the mayor has a tendency to, well, get around with the women. And a couple of years ago, there was this guy, Dave Anderson. He found out that Holic was cheating on him, cheating with his wife. He was putting flyers everywhere. I remember at the YMCA, he put a sign right outside the exit. Everybody knew about it. I didn't put anything out because I didn't have anything solid. Well, finally, after Dave spread flyers all around John's neighborhood, John decided to run to the Venice police, and I think abuse his power and say, hey, I'm mayor, I want some action taken, and get the guy arrested for stalking. What happened is the guy, and I read the police report, folks. I did all this. Basically, Dave, 2 months prior when he found out, threatened to kick his butt on text. Then he said, but you're such an old man, I'll hurt you. He went to the Venice Police Department after the flyers came out and said, well, 2 months ago he said this, now I fear for my life, and had him arrested. When you read the paper, the Hero, the Gondo, and all these papers, they were like, man arrested for stalking mayor. They never mentioned the fact that it was a pissed off guy that was wanting to kick John's ass because he was screwing his wife. But I did. And what that does is it gets you hated a lot. I can't tell you how many people dislike me. It's almost comical. I get hate email daily. It's gotten so bad, like some of these people where I'll go out and I'll push, hey, this guy's a pedophile. He's moving in your area. Some other people are starting to do that, but they only do it when the sheriff sends out stuff. But now I got to walk around with this thing in my pocket because I'm getting threats from the sexual predators and sexual offenders. They're upset that I'm putting their information out there. Their friends will write me, you know what, this guy did his time. He suffered. What about the damn kid that's going to suffer the rest of hers or his life? Give me a break. This is the type of stuff I go through daily. And, you know, it's amazing because I don't make a damn dime on this stuff. Why I do it sometimes is I wonder. I get Sarasota City, one of the commissioners got pissed because I was grabbing their emails. She tried to go into the attorney to get me to stop. He said, look, he's got freedom of information. And what I'm boiling down to is Media here needs to do a better job at getting out. Do a better job at calling out these politicians, these leaders, getting the hard news that's out there. Um, I can tell you countless stories where, because I'm a one-man operation, I'm not making any money, just enough to cover myself. I don't go after the stories, and there's a ton of stories out there that are hard stories, what you call investigative reporting, and nobody's going after them. They just want this easy fluff stuff that's out there. And that's why sometimes I wish I could make some money at this, because I would go out and pull out so much more investigative stories. But then that's why they would shut me down. And the whole gist of this is just that whole fake news thing narrative, which I started with in the beginning. You know, you got recently Lorraine, the media person at the City of Venice, saying you got to filter his news, you got to vet it. Yet I've never had a story that was not accurate. Anything I've put out is accurate. If there was something wrong, like today, couldn't find that video anywhere. Chris Brandley with WWSB helped me find it. I corrected that, and I'll correct it. I don't put out fake stuff, guys, but they're doing that to try to delegitimize me. And it's not just the City of Venice; it's these other areas and these other media resources. They all want to come out and try to delegitimize me and seem like the information isn't that great, so that people won't believe it. People won't believe when I tell them that the mayor of City of Venice is lying to constituents about saying he didn't say something. You know, when many things like him, that Hollick guy, he was pointing out that, hey, we're going to have to raise the property tax, and one of the reasons was Obamacare, the fire department, and there was a third reason. I always forget it for some reason. Yet at the same time, I shared an email where he was talking about enforcing a fire fee to take care of the fire department. At the same time, he was trying to pass that property tax, but nobody wanted to listen to me. And a lot of times he's fun. He'll do this stuff. And when I say him, all these guys do it, all these politicians, they'll sit there and change numbers. I remember the trolley. They would say, okay, it's going to be here for X amount of weeks, and it's this amount of dollars. So I would put that out. Then he would change, oh, no, it's going to be here for 4 months on a radio show. Then he would change it again in the paper. And I would take the numbers based upon those numbers that he provided at each one. And then he would come out and say, oh, Frank's lying. You can't believe him. He's fake news because he's giving out fake numbers. I'm like, you keep changing the amount of times you're going to have this damn trolley. But those are some of the challenges. And it just amazes me. And I just wanted to vent about it, because with this whole thing, it's amazing. I get people who write me and say, it's your job. You're making money. Blah, blah. No, folks. I'm making enough to cover the expenses here. If you saw the amount of time in here, you could talk to I can tell you the same amount of reporters that were at the jetty the other day were amazed that I do as much as I do, and I get information out as quick as I do as a one-man operation that's not making any money. And I just can't imagine how dangerous I would be if I was a profit operation here that had time and I only did this. And trust me, I sit in front of a computer all day. I'm on hold most of the day with attorneys and doctors and stuff with my legitimate telephonics.com, which you see up on the screen. And so I can sit here and do a lot of this stuff. But can you imagine how dangerous I would be without that? But what I would like is, media. Start doing investigative reporting. The other thing, media just sits there and says, we're not biased. Yeah, you can sit there and read the bias. And I've done a few examples. WWSB, all these guys were there, very liberal bias out there, but they won't talk about it. And media should give the information, and it should be just, here it is. Here's media. You could say, this is a flashlight. I'll sit there and say, it's a flashlight. The major media locally will say, yes, that's a flashlight. That's a fact. They should just be reporting on that. Now, I'm out here and I tell everybody, hey, I'm a libertarian, I'm right-leaning, so I'm going to opine on it. I'm not a reporter, I'm not a media guy, whatever you guys want to say. And I'll opine. I say, this is a flashlight, but... Now, what media does is they do the same thing, but they try to tell you guys that they're nonpartisan. And that whatever information they're putting out is the only accurate information. There's no other accurate information. And it's all factual. None of their opinion is based on it, which is hogwash. Especially if you look at some of these headlines and some of the information that comes out. I was reading a story, I think I put it out today, and I think I did a report where Sarasota Herald said, oh yeah, they decided to take the money from the parking lot in Venice and allocate it elsewhere because they knew Mike Sharkey's owner was going to come out with this one plan and move forward on that. Bull. If you watch the city council meeting, read the emails and everything, no, they didn't know that. The council didn't know that. There was no communication there. And it's like, why are you reporting this? You're in there injecting your own opinion instead of getting factual information. All right, so that's my vent. When you're out there, we need the media to get more investigative. We need them to just cover their facts. If they're going to opine, then let us know their bias, if they're left-leaning or what, because most people may not know. So they can incorporate that into believing what you're putting out, in considering what you're putting out. These politicians, these cities leaders, these bureaucrats, all these idiots that are trying to go out there and delegitimize me so that people won't believe me and won't listen when I uncover all this crap that's going on with them, need to stop it. Because when I do it, I put out factual information. And you look foolish. John Hollick, Mayor Hollick, looked foolish there when the person said, you're thinking about putting up a fence? He knew I put out that story. Everybody knew I did it. And he looked foolish when he sat there and lied because it was on tape. But he's hoping she will believe him and that nobody will go back and revert to that tape. And it's just amazing. So that's my long-ass rant. I had to get it out there. And I got to get back to work now. Everybody have a great day. This has been Frankie with the Uncensored Report.